Hey guys, what's up? Today is Friday and you might be expecting a first time Friday, but I decided to switch it up a little bit this Friday. I might have a couple more first time stories to share with you guys, but I want to keep you updated on what I'm doing with my channel, and I'm gonna try to deliver a story time to you guys on Friday for sure. But I want Fridays to always be a story time. I'm gonna try. I mean, I can't guarantee because it's really hard to fill every Friday up with a story time from my life, but I have a ton of ideas that I'm gonna share with you guys. This video is actually sponsored by Opinion Outpost. What Opinion Outpost basically is we can go to this website and give companies and brands our opinions on things so that they know how to make their products better for us. They know what to do and what we like so that they can better create products and things that we like the most. So it's very important to companies to have our opinion on things, and I have done this in the past because I've seen other YouTubers talk about Opinion Outpost. Opinion Outpost rewards you for your opinions with like iTunes gift cards, Amazon gift cards, cash, and let's be real here, we all like our cash. And it's just a little way to make extra money from home without doing too much, and I know summer's coming up and there's things that we want to do. So yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know about Opinion Outpost in case you haven't heard of it. Go ahead and click the link in my description and you can head over and see what you're working with. Anyways, let's get on with today's story time, and I'm starting to make really creepy story times, but that's okay. I'm scared to make them home alone in my house, but I'm gonna do it for you. Let's get into a couple more paranormal stories that I have, or kind of like supernatural stories, like things that you almost can't really explain. I don't have any like super scary stories, but things that are just like, how could that possibly happen? So this one was extremely interesting, and it actually happened when I was up at my Nana's funeral like a month or two ago. So we were at my Nana's funeral, and my Nana and Papa have passed away in the last like 5 years. My Nana really recently, a couple months ago. And so we all have the funeral, and I'm spending time with my dad's family now. And my aunt ends up coming to tell us that the day after the funeral, and there is no connection to this line, okay? Both my grandma and my grandpa are since passed. So their phone line should not be working. New people live in the house. They have their own phone line. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't exist anymore. So we get told by my aunt that my other aunt is just hanging out at home with her daughter and her husband, and they still have a caller ID like phone, like a house phone. And so they're just sitting there and they get a call, and it's just like one ring. And they look at the caller ID and it said Nana and Papa's house. I want to say that there was a voicemail and they refused to listen to it or something like that, or they didn't want to answer the call. But yeah, so right after my Nana's funeral, which is when both of them passed, so now my Nana and Papa could be together in heaven, my aunt gets a call from Nana and Papa's house, which doesn't exist. The line doesn't exist. So that's a supernatural thing as well. I think it's very interesting. This story isn't much of like a full story with like a beginning, a climax, and an ending. It's kind of just a feeling that I've always had, and then when my sister would talk about this, it just kind of made sense to me. So back when I was growing up, I lived in a house from when I was 1 till I was 14 years old. And there was nothing like creepy about this house. Like, it was not haunted or anything. Not like the one I lived in for the first months and year of my life. That one was beyond. And I've already made a video about that. You can go ahead and check it out. I made it towards the beginning of my channel. I have purple hair and everything, but I have some of my most creepy paranormal stories that it really involve me in that video, but these are just some extras. Anyways, this house was always a little bit weird to me. I never wanted to be home alone. And so my sister confirmed every night my sister would see my grandpa like at her bedside. And I don't know if it's just me, but obviously I have a story when I was really little and I saw the ghost boy, but I've just never been a person to like pick up on things like that. Like, my sister might be, and my grandpa had passed away. We had never met him, but for some reason my sister had always known it was him, and he would always come to her at her bed in her room in that house, and I totally believe her, and she would not lie about something like that, so I'm pretty sure my grandpa was visiting her. But you know, that's not necessarily a scary story. It just kind of confirms that, you know, maybe your loved ones and maybe the ones that have passed on before you were even born, maybe they come back to see you and spend time with you and watch over you, really, and that should be a happy thing. So that is not necessarily a scary one, but I've always kind of felt presences in that house, so I'm kind of probably sure that that happened. This one happened shortly after my grandma died, and I was so close with my grandma. I loved her more than anything. She was legitimately my second mom. She was just, I spent all my time with her. And when she passed away, that was one of the most sad moments of my life. I was probably like, I want to say 7 at the time. So right after she passed away, my mom was home alone. She was upstairs in my dad's office, and there's a specific sound because we had a wood floor downstairs in our hallway from like the garage to the living room, and there was a specific sound that like a dropping of metal or keys or something would make. So my mom's sitting in my dad's office, she's all the way upstairs, and she hears the loudest like bang, which sounded like keys on the wood floor. So she ends up going downstairs, and she just has a weird feeling this whole entire time. She sees her keys dropped in the middle of the floor, and she looks around and she calls for her mom. So she says, "Mom?" And she obviously got no response. You know, ghosts don't really talk if they're there, or spirits, whatever you want to call it. She basically just smelled this extremely strong smell of my grandma, and she had a very specific perfume that she would always wear, and a very specific smell that her house smelled like, her couches smelled like, and I know it. I can smell it right now. Like, I know what I'm talking about, and my mom just swears by this. And you know, by the way, I'm not giving like 100% true facts like I saw a ghost, I saw it, but I'm just telling you just weird, creepy, supernatural things that you just give you an idea into maybe that world is real, you know? I don't know. She just absolutely swears by this, and she knows her mom was there at that moment. She heard the keys drop, a really loud bang, so that she would come downstairs. She called for her mom, and she just absolutely smelt her as if she was like walking by her or something. So I always thought that that was super, super interesting, and I always tell my parents, I'm like, "Mom, Dad, please, after you pass away, please do not scare me. Like, I'm not interested in that. I will literally die and pass out. Please don't do that." Do you ever worry about like people that you hate, or like people that play jokes on you a lot will come back after they pass away, if they pass first, and like scare you or something? That is literally like my worst fear. Anyway, story number 3. Story number 3 kind of like gives me almost positivity that people can connect to you, and people can come back and try to contact you, because how can you explain something like this? So my Aunt Nancy's house is something way different than anything I've ever experienced. I've always felt weird in that house, and I love it. It's a very, very nice house. She takes care of it. She lives totally fine there. But when my uncle died around 2006, weird stuff started to happen in that house. And let me tell you, I'm very close with my Aunt Nancy, but till this day, she refused to tell me anything that happened in that house. She told me one story, which I'm going to share with you guys, because she did not want me to be scared of coming over. She still wanted to see me, and me and my mom actually ended up living in that house during the first like 3 years of my high school life, or the first 2 years. And yeah, so I never really experienced anything myself there, but she refused to tell me the things that were happening right after her husband passed away, which was my uncle. And one of the things that, this is just completely unexplainable. Tell me this isn't paranormal. So my uncle was an extremely like fix-it guy. He was a repair guy, you know. He was very handy with tools, and all of a sudden, right after he died, everything in her house started to break. Her hair dryer, her faucets, leaks, everything was just breaking. This literally gives me the chills telling this, because it's just so like, how did this happen? So basically, one day, she's in the kitchen, and the faucet on her sink, like the little handle thing that spits out the water, I think that's a faucet, right? It just completely knocks itself off. So the water just comes spraying through, the faucet just flies off, and the water just comes flying. It's just getting everywhere. But the first spout of water, okay, so water is about to spill everywhere, it's coming out. Right after the faucet breaks off, one huge stream of water, which is obviously the power coming up from the faucet or whatever because it broke, just goes directly to a picture of my uncle, hits it, and the picture falls down. Now, it was like across the room. So what are the chances that her faucet breaks because he was like a fix-it guy? One stream of water just comes out and directly hits his picture across the room, and it knocks over. Like, that is completely supernatural to me. That is like him completely trying to communicate, and like I said, kind of like the first story and stuff, I think that is super cool. I think it's just like interesting because you really feel like people can communicate with you, and I don't know if anybody has had experiences like that. I want you guys to totally leave in the comments down below if you've had any like cool, scary ghost experiences. Like, you know, I'm not telling you like super scary ones or anything like that. They're just like interesting to me, and I wanted to share them with you guys. So if you know my original paranormal story video, you know that I talked about a rocking chair and the little boy in the rocking chair. Now, this rocking chair, after all the experiences with me, and we figured out that this was just not a good rocking chair, it's kind of like a thing of like the Annie doll. Like something might attach itself to an item and then it'll remain haunted. So we ended up giving this away to like extended family. So my extended family had this rocking chair, and I don't know if they've since given it away or if it's since just been like destroyed. I don't really know because I would freaking destroy this thing. But basically, we give them this rocking chair, and it was giving them trouble just like it was giving us. So they have the rocking chair in the corner of their bedroom. The wife is home alone one day, and she walks by the bedroom door where the rocking chair was in, and it's just standing completely in the middle of the doorway. And this is 100% true. This is all family. This is not random people that are gonna lie to us to scare us or anything like that. This is family, and the rocking chair is just in the middle of the doorway. So she looks at it, she's a little bit scared, she's heard the stories, and she places the rocking chair back in the back corner of the room. So she spends a little bit more time in the house, she's in the kitchen, she comes back, and the rocking chair is right back in the middle of the doorway. Now, she has been home alone all day. Her husband is at work. So how does a rocking chair move from the back corner to the doorway after she puts it back? It's like it's trying to play a joke on her. So she was so extremely scared that she did not even try to move it back. She ran out of the house, and she did not come back into the house until her husband came back home. And honestly, I would do the same thing, and I will never forget that story because it completely just like solidifies what happened to me in the chair with the little boy that I definitely talked to. So I'm pretty sure that little boy owns that chair, and he is playing some jokes. And this last story is kind of another weird one. It's about my sister, and it happened when she was very little. So I wasn't even alive for this one. So my sister was about 2 years old, okay? She is just a little baby, you know, she doesn't know anything about love, relationships, husbands, wives. And so she is sitting on my grandma's bed with my grandma, and they're watching TV and they're just hanging out. Keep in mind, my grandpa died like maybe 20 years prior to this. I could be totally wrong, I don't know, but he was gone for a while. And so my sister's just sitting there, and obviously she doesn't remember this. She has no idea what a husband is. She has no idea. And she looks at my grandma with like the sweetest little face, and she just says, "You know I'm your husband, right?" And my mom and my dad tell this story like no other. My grandma was so scared that I don't even know what she did, but my grandma was just so scared because it's really creepy. How does my sister know about love, husbands, wives, relationships? She doesn't. She's just a little tiny girl, and then she just looks at my grandma and says, "I'm your husband." And that is just one of the creepiest things. Gives me chills to my core. So yeah, definitely some interesting stories, all really revolving around my family, so I don't know what's going on. And that is all for today. Let me know if you guys want to see more from like my paranormal stories or supernatural stories. I will totally make more. And do not forget to subscribe to my channel. I upload videos every Monday and Friday. Also follow me on social media, the links are down below. And give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. It means so much to me, and I will see your lovely, beautiful faces in my next video. Bye guys!